ridiculous. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Tell me about this. I want to know more.
Oh, yeah. No.
Holy cow.
We've had a lot of fun.
So we now have snow in our forecast for tomorrow. So that's
Yeah.
exciting.
We're just getting used to it being dark early, much less snow.
Yeah. I know. My dogs are the ones who are the most put out by the time change at this point. Like, where is our dinner?
Yes.
It is time to eat. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's not time yet. You gotta wait.
Yeah, I was thrown off too. I mean, I felt like it was worse than in the spring, just with the getting dark and I don't know, just kind of a change in the air. It seemed like overnight.
Yeah. My daughter is really ticked because she gets off of work at 6 and it was already getting a little dark, but now it's like fully, completely dark. And she does not enjoy that. Plus, yesterday, the first day she had to drive home in the complete dark, it was also raining. So,
Oh, no.
I think she would probably like to have a ride to work, but it's not going to happen. I'm recording a podcast.
Right. You're busy right now.
But I will be watching her anxiously on the GPS all the way home, as is my way.
Bless the GPS.
But no snow yet, thankfully.
Yeah, there's already some. Last weekend we saw some north of here. We had to go to a skating competition, and there was some of it on the ground.
Oh, yeah,
and
this
even
is the one where your son sang the anthem, the Canadian anthem.
Well, that was a different thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was, my daughter had a competition, and then on the same day, my husband organized this hockey charity game, and he had a Canadian team, Canadian employees from his company and U.S. employees from his company. So he got my son and some of his choir friends to sing both of the anthems. So
That's awesome.
That is very cute.
It was very exciting.
And they did a good job. And you know what else they did do accurately?
What?
They did not put their hand over their heart.
Not a Canadian thing.
What is the
Not a Canadian thing.
What is the appropriate stature when listening to or singing the anthem? Do you do anything in particular with your hands, or just put them in your
Hands at your
pockets because it's
side.
cold?
Hands at your
I
side.
see.
Stand up straight.
I think the stand up straight is probably the hard part of that for a lot of young people.
Yeah.
Shoulders back.
Yeah.
Especially when you're standing on ice.
Well, that's
Yes.
true. That's true.
And you don't have skates on. They
Yes.
were just
Aw.
standing. So
That
but
was
yeah,
very
they had
sweet.
fun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my husband's already thinking of like other places they could sing. So we'll see about
Knows
that.
the Canadian anthem will travel.
All right now, and they know the Icelandic national anthem. Or they did back in June.
They could just rent themselves out to sing national anthems. National anthems are us. If we don't know it, we will learn it.
Right.
Though there's a time limit on those high voices, though, I think.
Yes. Yeah, one of the 4 boys, there were 3 7th graders and an 8th grader.
Yeah.
And the boy choir ends at 8th grade.
Yeah.
Whether or not. Yeah, well, I mean, some kids have to stop during 8th grade.
Yeah.
If Mother Nature decides it's time. And then the rest of them, they can go through 8th grade, but then that's it.
Yeah.
They're all done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess you don't really want to be the kid who can still be in it in high school, right? It's a little embarrassing.
The boy choir.
Just assume people didn't know that.
They're right. I guess so.
Nobody's fighting that ruling.
No. Exactly.
So when does snow usually start? Whereabouts in your whereabouts?
Oh yeah, it could be any time around now. I feel like it's been cold for a little while.
Yeah.
So it kind of went from summer to winter. Like we didn't have many days of like wearing the fall jacket and just going outside with a sweater but not a coat. We really didn't have too much of that. It seemed like.
Yeah.
It stayed warm longer and then it got cold right away.
Yeah. Now, is this an issue with your daughter driving? Do they have heavy duty how to drive in the snow lessons when they're teaching kids to drive? I drove in Southern California, so it wasn't an issue.
I mean, it's just kind of luck of the draw. It works out for her because of where her birthday falls that she's going to be learning through the winter. So she's going to get lessons.
Yeah.
I mean, she had her first behind the wheel lesson a week or so ago, and then her next one is coming in December. So it's quite likely that there will be some snow either at the December one or the following one. So, and they took her, we have one place in our town that has a series of roundabouts, like 5 in a row. Yeah. And most of them have 2 lanes and, they're big, busy roundabouts. And that's where she went on day 1.
Wow.
Wow, day 1.
Yep.
We don't have those in California, I don't think. That was a big revelation to me coming east. What?
Yeah,
why is there just not a signal here? What the heck?
They're starting to.
Yeah? Why? That's something that should be stamped out, not extended.
Oh, they keep adding them here.
They are not fun. That's a difficult thing to learn how to drive around. I'm glad I didn't have to do that. Yeah. Well, speaking of roundabouts.
That's right. Welcome to Parenting Roundabout. Good job, Terry.
That is pretty. That's one of the best yet.
That's right. Welcome to Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now. I'm Catherine Haleko, and with me today are Terry Morrow.
Hello.
And Nicole Aradix.
Hello.
Today on the podcast, we're going to give out some awards on our Friday speed round. We will hear an interview with occupational therapist Meghan Corridan and do some shameless self-promotion. But first, we have a sad follow-up to our recent conversation on kids and dating.
Aww.
Yeah. Yes. First heartbreak.
Oh, dear. It didn't have anything to do with her mother talking about it on a podcast, did it?
Not as far as I know.
We're playing with fire here, y'all know.
Yes, it was a whirlwind.
Oh, man.
It started quickly and it burned out quickly.
Wow.
But it really, I don't know what happened when I was a teenager. I think my mom just carried on life as usual.
Yeah.
Put a smile on your face. It'll all be fine. Get up, go to school.
My mom would have been laying in the couch with the rag over her eyes in agony for me.
Yeah, see, and that's kind of what I think I'm more inclined to behave like your mother.
And I'd be going, really? I didn't like him that much, Mom. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I'm like taking on all the, all the feelings.
Yeah.
So yes, it was.
Aww.
It was quick. It was quick and over fast. So
yeah,
but still, she was a little blindsided by it. It didn't happen in the nicest of ways.
Oh,
it was
dear.
A very typical made-for-TV teen drama.
Oh my.
So so we've all just been kind of, because first I was away in Canada for about 9 days, so I missed a lot of the actual romance. And
they broke up in time for you to come home and clean it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, boy.
Thanks.
Yeah, I know you're going to break my heart. Could you just wait till my mom gets home? Thanks.
Right. Please wait. I need to be ready for this.
Yeah.
I came home and things kind of unraveled very quickly. And so as a result, I still haven't unpacked from the trip, and I came home Friday.
Oh, dear.
But
there's been other kinds of unpacking going on that you've had to deal with.
It's sad. I mean, it reminds me of, it brings up all kinds of memories that we have as parents. And even, it just affects the whole family, especially if you're a family that typically, talks about these things or, has had the person over or whatever. So, and I remember feeling this way with my son's breakups too. It's almost like it's a breakup with the family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they sort of become, part of the daily conversation or part of plans or, it just kind of really, so yeah, it's too bad. It was a little sticky though, because we know the family. Right. So things had to end somewhat maturely, and they did do a good job with that. So
that's good.
So, and I just texted her this morning and said, how's it going? Because they have some classes together. And so she said, it's just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she, and she also had the help of a former flame that kind of distracted her a little bit. So, yeah, so it's
so
been
is she moving
really,
right on here, or?
I don't think she's moving on, but it just kind of helped her distract. Like she didn't have her sole focus on that. So
yeah, well, that's good.
Whereas I was the one lying on the couch.
Right, your focus.
That is the way it goes. I remember that from my childhood, and I'm sure I would be exactly the same now.
Oh yeah, even
should I ever have an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, and it was really sweet because her friends really kind of rallied around her, and this is kind of their first. They're going through this for the first time as well, many of them, watching this whole process of getting together with a boy and dating and then the breakup. And so, one friend brought over Starbucks last night and they sat on the couch and then chatted, and then another friend FaceTimed her and they chatted, and then the the messages going back and forth. And so it was very sweet. They were very good to her. So, and yeah, it's just, and as we were talking about this earlier, like breaking up with somebody, I mean, not just a boyfriend, but even a friend can be hard too.
Yes.
Like I remember feeling this way over even just friends, period. And so, yeah.
People-based
really
transitions.
There's no rule book or guide for how to handle that with your kid, but so that's why we're talking about today.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer. Mine is usually the lame, move on. It wasn't meant to be, but boy, that have not been satisfying to me when I was a kid.
Right.
That's just the worst. And yet, from life experience, you know that you will look back on this one day and say, well, that was nothing. Why was I so upset?
Right.
But at the time, it's not helpful.
Well, and when it's a friend, I just want to say basically like, you got other friends, like, who cares?
Yeah.
And I know, from personal experience, that does not help at all.
No. And then there are the times, in our situation, there are no other friends. So it's like a lot gets invested in a single friend. And so when that person proves to be not worthy of the investment, it's really, really hard. It's like, okay, I got to wait for another one. Like, right. Could you just
when or where?
Groups are nice. Could we meet a group, Then if one goes, you still got more, but it's hard. It's really hard with, one of my kids in particular, to find friends. And then, there have been good friends that have then moved away, and there's no replacing that. And the contact has been broken, and others that have just ended for no reason, no understandable reason.
Right.
And clearly to me, more about that other person than about my kid. But again, those are not words that are helpful. It doesn't feel good.
No matter how true it is, it doesn't.
It's not. And it's, I find, my adult perspective, which I understand to be correct, is not useful to the young person. And I can recall it being not useful to me when I was that age. I did not want to hear it, even though my mom had the same wisdom to offer. So, yikes, I don't know. I just wish that people would not disappoint my children. Please, just cut it out.
If they would just refrain from that
wouldn't that be nice? And it's hard for me to not resent the heck out of them, and their parents and everything. So it would be hard for me, Nicole, to not, to just go on being pleasant. But I understand your situation. Since he's a friend of the family and a friend of this, there's no neat way to just say, no, shake the dust from your shoes and never think of him again, because...
No. Well, and I know that didn't work for me. That actually made it worse because I felt like I couldn't talk about it, and I couldn't, kind of really resolve it and get adult input because, you know, if the adults in my life are shutting it down.
Yeah. And now that you are an adult, though, do you see how you kind of wish that could happen? It's like...
Well, I do, in a way, yeah, because it definitely has created a lot of angst for the family. And, you know, it'd be nice to just kind of like, you know, wash our hands of it and move on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I find like this is a good opportunity, too, to give her some perspective and realize, you know, she's learned what she wants in a friendship or a boyfriend. And she'll, you know, each one of these experiences will lead to hopefully a better one.
Yeah. Is she buying that?
She's buying it. Well, you know, this has also been a good opportunity, too, to kind of like share some of our own experiences.
Well, that's true.
And her brother has really opened up and supported her, too, and her brother's girlfriend. So there's been a lot of conversation that might not normally have happened.
Yeah.
So she's had an opportunity to really work through it, I think is the thing.
That's nice. I feel in my house that all the advice I have to give is either not apropos or not welcome. And so really what my job is to just sit and listen without trying to fix things. And I find that incredibly difficult. I find that almost impossible to do.
That is not in your nature.
That is not in my skill set. It's like, all right, I will give you the advice you need to fix that. What do you mean? You don't want the advice? You don't want to fix it? Well, then what... What can I do? This is why I sit and play with my phone. Go ahead and talk. I'm going to color in something on Sandbox and just pretend like I'm paying attention. Because if I pay attention, I'm going to want to say stuff. And you don't
and your kids are older too. I mean, mine, you know, she's still 16 and still looks to us somewhat for some guidance. I mean, I find that my son doesn't. He's got other influences in his life that are just as important. And doesn't seem to look to us too much anymore, but which is normal.
Part of it, I think, might be the curse of being a parent of kids with special needs, because so much of your focus when they're young is fixing things and doing things and signing things and talking things over and finding remedies and, you know, let's lay out a 10-point program for dealing with this, and then we will have checkpoints here, 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 and here. And then those people all leave and there's still problems. And it's like, well, let me gather together a team, an interdisciplinary team to discuss your friendship problem. we will come up with a working blueprint.
That's right. And so then when something happens outside of that, you're like,
so that's my whole skill set now. That's what I've trained for. And...
That's what I'm trained for.
It's like you don't say, well, your kid's not learning. We're just going to tell them not to worry about it. And it's just, there are more things in life than learning. There will be other things that come along. No, we fix it.
Right.
No, we got to find a way.
Yeah. Where's the therapist for this? I want her coming to the house 5 times a week.
We need to bring in all those specialists.
And even, you know, when you get to this age, even when your kid goes to therapy to help with problems, they don't tell them what to do. They just listen.
Yeah.
It's very unsatisfactory.
It is. I don't know. It's kind of a flyby. I feel like it's a fly by the seat of your pants. However, you, with a little bit more knowledge than what your parents had. So it's kind of like, you try and deal with it at the moment. Yeah. But I don't know.
Are you doing any better than I am on this, Catherine?
Well, I haven't quite had to deal with it yet either in terms of a romantical relationship, but friends, sure. You know, years ago, for example, not saying that it hasn't happened for years, but just thinking of one thing. You know, one of my kids had a really good friend, and they were very close and spent a ton of time together, and then that friend just kind of started pulling away. And it was so hard. Because I was also friends with the mother, and, you know, it was, you know, I'm not going to say, you know what, he just doesn't like you that much anymore or whatever. Like, I can't tell the truth. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes friends are not friends forever, or, you know, this person just needs a little break, or, you know, so it was very difficult just trying to kind of distract and try to pump up other friendships.
Right.
Kind of to keep that child busy instead of just constantly having to say, no, you know, that they're not available today, or they're really busy, or they don't, you know, their family's going away, whatever it was. Instead of coming up with lots of excuses, I just tried to emphasize other relationships.
Yeah.
Which, you know, has limited success, but can work. And yeah, you know, especially with a really young child, I think when they get to become teenagers, you can have deeper conversations about, you know, friendships change, people change, groups change, you know, people sort of drift in and out, and it's not necessarily, you know, anything you did or even that they did, you know, it's just the way life is.
I'm not having a lot of success with that line.
Yeah.
But boy, that reminded me what you were just saying. I was kind of on the other end of that as a kid, because there's a family we were really, really, really close friends with for a long time. I was friends with, there's 4 girls. I was friends with the youngest 2 daughters. And then a time came, and I mean, I won't defend myself, but I just didn't want to be friends with this girl anymore. And our mothers were best friends, and my mom lost her best friend because this friend felt that I had been mean to her daughter, and my mom stuck up for me, and that was the end of this long, close friendship. I feel really terrible about it in retrospect, but at the time, you know, it wasn't nice, but you don't want to force somebody to be friends with somebody either, because, you know, be nice and sacrifice yourself to be friends with this person. It was one of these terrible things where people I wanted to be friends with thought she was weird, I think, and, you know, so it's hard to defend the behavior, but it's so complicated when everybody's it's great when everybody's friends, when you're friends, and when it makes it really difficult to not be. And we've had that situation a little bit, not too much, but could theoretically still happen in the future because we have situations, but
yeah, that's hard for sure.
It's just another one of those situations where there's no right answer, right? And it depends on how you're. Yeah, I know, and I think just to kind of circle back around and you know, pick out something that you said earlier too. It just really depends on how our kid reacts too. I mean, we may want to we might want to talk about it and analyze it, and our kid might be, no, I'm not interested. It's done. It's over. Bye bye.
Right.
Right. Like it really depends on how our kid reacts to the situation and their personality and what kind of how receptive they are to what you want to do, is, you know, how you want to parent them through it.
Right.
So, yeah, tough. I don't know. Well, just, you think it gets easier as they get older, but
nope,
not at all.
Yes.
So hopefully today will kind of, when she gets home, we'll wrap things up and we'll be ready for a
that'll
fresh
be
start
the end
tomorrow.
of that.
good luck with that. Boy.
Wipe the dust off, kid.
Love those parenting problems that can just be solved like that.
Yeah.
Yes, moving on.
Yep.
Checking it off my list.
Check it off.
First heartbreak, done.
Get
Never
back in action.
Never have to deal with that again.
Oh, the best thing to deal with that is to find somebody else immediately.
You know what we need to do?
Yeah.
Is we need to come up with all the sayings that we've heard over time.
Yeah.
That parents say to kids, you know, after breakups and traumas and
yeah.
we need to make a list.
That would be a
of all those
long,
things.
sad list.
So anyway.
Yeah, well.
That's what's happening in our house.
So sorry to hear about that.
This is what happens when you go to Canada, Nicole.
I know, right? Not going to Canada anymore.
You're going to have to stay home now.
Well, and there was a big breakup when we went to Hawaii.
Oh,
so
yeah,
maybe
I remember
I'm
that.
not going to go anywhere.
Didn't she, break up with him by text?
Yeah, the next day after we got home, after 10 days.
Nice. Aloha means hello and goodbye.
Yeah, literally.
She took that a little too seriously. Oh, man. Well,
yeah, that was bad.
Sometimes I feel like we need an award for dealing with this sort of thing. And we'll think of that for another time. But for today on our speed round, we're talking about awards that schools should give parents because goodness knows we deserved it. We recently talked about alternative awards schools could give out to students in addition to valedictory and best attendance and stuff like that. So what awards would we like to see parents receive at those end-of-year ceremonies and banquets? Because you know what? Sitting at those end-of-year ceremonies watching kids that are mostly not your kid get stuff, you know, it gets a little tiring sitting there. So it'd be nice to run up to stage yourself and get something, I think. I feel like I could have used some nice bouquet of roses and a trophy.
Some positive reinforcement.
That's right. So, Catherine, do you have some ideas of things that you would like to see parents get awarded at the end of the year, either for good behavior or for bad?
Well, I think in one of our earlier discussions on this topic, Nicole said that she would offer an award to the kids for the friend group that had the least drama. So maybe the parents could get one for diffusing drama or, somehow inspiring the drama-free zone.
Yeah.
If there was one.
Yeah, really. Yeah, so
that could work. Remember how I used to but I used to volunteer to go and move the piano keyboards at my kids' elementary school, and I did that for like years and years. And they did recognize me at the last concert. So
nice. Biggest sucker was it the award?
Yeah, they gave me a giant lollipop. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think they gave me flowers, and they just acknowledged, that was something that I did, and not just me, but other parents too. But just kind of noticing that you did a volunteer job that wasn't really necessarily obvious to other parents. Right. So so getting recognized for that.
Yeah, that is important. Those jobs where they're not high profile but are necessary.
Right.
Call them out. And then other parents will know that that's something they could do if they wanted to.
That's right. And it's something where you don't really have to deal with other people's kids.
Yes.
just their sticky fingers on the keyboards.
Yeah. Well, that is a good one. Nicole, had you come up with any other ones you think parents should get, especially from your point of view as a teacher?
Are these serious or not so serious?
They can be either way. It's a free-for-all.
Because, having worked in schools over the years, just on both ends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So maybe mine's more from a teacher perspective.
That's okay.
I don't know.
That's fine. But I'd like to hear that.
I would give an award to the parent who made the least amount of complaints over the year.
Definitely.
Good one.
I would also give an award to the parent who sent the best lunches.
That's a good one.
Or the least smelliest lunches. The ones that made me the least nauseous. Lunchtime.
That's nice.
And or the parent who sent the lunches that required the least amount of unpacking and undoing.
Right, assistance from the teacher.
Yeah. Those thermoses, parents, come up with a better way. Opening 24 thermoses is not fun.
Oh, yeah.
Eats into my lunch hour. And then, of course, I live in California where all the parents, and I shouldn't say all the parents, but where the playground is very much a catwalk of fashion.
Oh, my.
So I would probably give an award to the parent with like either the best sunglasses or the best yoga pants or...
But the parent with the most nerve to leave the house in sweatpants and an old t-shirt.
Right.
Yeah, I would like to reward that, Mom.
That mom.
Fashion iconoclast.
Yeah, that would not happen here. You would be shamed.
Really?
You would
Really?
be sent back home with
Beginning to think it's a good thing I had my
Dress
children
code
out here.
violation.
yeah.
Parent dress code infraction. Go home. You look like a slob.
You are not representative of our school community. Leave.
Get back in your car.
Yikes.
And it better be a nice car, too.
Can you please not get out of your car in the mornings if you're going to look like that?
We'll bring your child to you. Really, it's okay. Roll up those tinted windows.
And back away slowly.
Yeah. Well, didn't I ever tell you my friend's advice when she had a very large gap between her son and her daughter. Mm-hmm. So when she went to take her son to school for the first time, she was probably a good 10 to 15 years older than the other moms. And she was telling me that her best friend told her that in order to fit into the new moms, just buy like a really awesome pair of sunglasses. The best sunglasses you can buy, and you'll fit right in.
Oh my.
And cover up the bags under your eyes too.
Exactly. You old person.
Yeah. So my awards are a little off, not necessarily very serious, but
I think they work.
Yes, absolutely. Well, speaking of awards that would never be given out, I think there should be some sort of best behavior in the drop-off line, following the rules at drop-off. There could also be an award for volunteer crossing guard for the mom who, when there's no crossing guard or when you have to cross the parking lot and there's, it's every car for themselves, who shakes their fist at the cars and makes them stop and grabs a couple of kids and gets them across.
Throws her own body in front of
Exactly. That's dangerous work. And what would we do without them? Children would never get into the building. So praise those moms. I have been that mom many times, making eye contact with drivers and saying,
we thank you.
If you hit my child, you will be late for work. Stop your car. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think there also could be an award for the voice of reason. The mom who in the class parent group puts, the kibosh on the ridiculous plans for parties and says, do we really have to do that? Couldn't we do something a little similar? Or I won't be able to do that. Let's just do this. Or tells the 8th grade party planning moms, no, let's not go on a cruise. Let's not have it at a banquet hall. Let's have it in the cafeteria. Yeah, that person comes in for a lot of glares. Exactly. The Slow Your Roll Award, I think. That mom gets a lot of glares, but if she wasn't around, bad things would happen.
Yes.
I think she needs a little love, although she'll probably get booed on her way to the stage. The Killjoy Award, perhaps.
There you go. The Killjoy Award.
The Common Sense Award. That's what it is.
Right. Alternative language. Yes.
Yeah. The Common Sense Award.
Yes.
I love it. The least amount of rules.
Yeah.
Or the least... Oh, the committee with the least meetings.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That's a popular
I'll
one.
sign up for that
That's
one.
a good one.
Yeah. That was...
The committee that had all of their meetings online.
Yeah, that's my version of that was to be vice president of the home and school because they needed to have somebody in that job to fill the roster, but there was absolutely no responsibility, at least at my kids' middle school. So it's like, I'll do that.
Right.
I have nothing to do other than to put my name down.
Right.
And I did that for many years and felt all sorts of civic duty.
There you go. Love it.
Yeah, well, those sound like some good awards that schools should keep in mind for this school year. And as we think of more, we shall share them in future speed rounds. But for now, that's it for our Friday speed round. And remember that you can hear a new speed round every Monday through Thursday.
Right. And now we're going to switch gears a little bit and bring in an actual expert, which is our friend.
Ask her if she has any good ideas about breakups with friends
She might. You never know.
I bet she does.
Yeah.
Next time you talk to her, that will be her topic.
Occupational therapy tools for breakups and heartbreak.
Yes, for breakups.
So
punching things, probably. Punching things would probably be very helpful and also give you some nice proprioceptive input.
Well, today what Megan is talking about, Megan is our regular guest who is an occupational therapist and a mom of I think 7-year-old. And she this time is talking to us about ways to practice handwriting without using paper. So that's
nice.
What we're going to hear from Megan.
Very cool.
So today we're with Meghan Corridan, a pediatric occupational therapist, and Megan joins us about once a month to talk about some of her favorite tips and tools and tricks that she uses in her therapy practice and also with her own daughter. And today Megan has some great suggestions for us on how to help kids practice handwriting without using any paper. So tell us how that works.
Over the years, I mean, there's the whole movement towards being green and eco-friendly. But I've also found that just handing kids a writing instrument and paper can be a really intimidating and frustrating thing for kids. Mm-hmm. So I try and make handwriting as much fun as possible and make it look like it's not work. So I try and do as much as possible especially for my younger kids, without using pen and paper. So, there's a lot of activities that you can do, and there are a lot of great products out there now. And I'd love to share some of those with everyone.
Great.
I'll start with some activities that you can do with the kids, and then I'll go to products.
Okay.
So one of the favorite things I suggested was practicing letters using food and like a cookie sheet or something. For younger kids, I would use a baking pan because it's a little deeper. But I like using colored sprinkles or beans or rice or whatever and spreading them out in a sheet of some sort and using either their fingers or like a paintbrush to practice drawing shapes or letters or whatever they want to do. But it's a fun way for kids to practice without feeling like they're doing that work. Mm-hmm. For some kids, they don't like the feeling of those materials. So you can encourage them to use a paintbrush. But what I also like about it is once they're done practicing the letter, they have to sort of clean the slate. So it works on improving bilateral coordination and, having sort of like the idea of like an Etch-a-Sketch where you shake it, but instead you just shake the sprinkles or the rice so the letter disappears. That's one fun activity that parents really like to be able to do with their kids.
And that's all pretty much stuff you have at home or you can access easily. Yeah,
absolutely. Another thing that's really good is, a lot of the parents I work with are busy and they feel guilty that they can't do more with their kids and they want to maximize their time with them. So one of the things I suggest is either getting shaving cream or bathtub crayons and, using bath time as an opportunity to work on handwriting or drawing. For the kids who don't really like the feeling of shaving cream, you can use Melissa and Doug or Alex or Crayola. They all have different kinds of washable bathtub crayons. But I like the shaving cream. I like the more multi-sensory approach you can have with kids, the more likely it is for that information to sort of stick into their heads.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And another great thing are dry erase boards or chalkboards hanging up in your house. My daughter has become obsessed with her dry erase board and, loves practicing writing out her letters, or if she's having a hard time spelling a word, she'll practice on there before writing it on her homework. You can get a handheld one of either of those things. For people who have a lot more room in their apartments or houses, they can get the stand-up chalkboards or dry erase boards from different companies. And there's also now, they have reusable dry erase board sheets or chalkboard sheets that just it's like a big sticker that you can place on the door. we've had one sitting next to our kitchen for years now. And when I was making dinner, Quinn would sit there with her chalk and just draw for the entire time and keep herself occupied.
Yeah, so it's sort of it, and you can get that in a dry erase form too.
I linked to both of them on the blog.
Okay.
But they're inexpensive, they're easy to clean, and the added bonus of a stand-up or like the wall dry erase boards and chalkboards is that as while you're working on the handwriting stuff, you're also working on building core strength and shoulder stability and upper body strength, which is all really important for the development of fine motor and grasping skills.
Great. Okay, so those are all some things that are pretty readily accessible to parents, or they might already have or know about. But then you said you also have some suggested products.
Yes. So one of my favorite things is the boogie board, and I discovered it years ago, and it's basically like the updated version of an Etch-a-Sketch. It's an LCD writing tablet, and it's super lightweight, and it takes up very little room, so you can take it into your, like, it's great for traveling. It's we have one that we just keep in the back seat of our car, and as the years have gone on, they've developed a whole series of kids products as well. So the biggest hit in my office right now is what they call the Magic Sketch Board, and it comes with the actual boogie board, and then it comes with like 4 or 5 different writing tools and stamps. And what's nice about this version is that the screen is color. So like instead of just coming, it's a little more appealing to the kids that when they're practicing their letters or drawing their shapes or coloring in or whatever, it's rainbow colored. So they really like that. And it's just something that can be all theirs. I like to use it to practice writing, but I also, when kids need a little bit of a break, I just give them that and let them calm down for a few minutes, and it really helps.
Yeah, I've seen the sort of original basic boogie board, but I haven't seen the colored ones. That's cool.
They're great. And like I said, it's nice because it is lightweight. You can, again, take it to like a restaurant and do all, or travel, whatever. It's just nice when you can find something that isn't so bulky, and parents, can take it with them everywhere.
Right.
Another thing. So Etch-a-Sketch has their own version of like the boogie board, which I like this. It's a little bit bigger, and it also comes with a stylus, so it doesn't have the dials that we were used to. It's called the Etch-a-Sketch Freestyle, and I like the grip on the stylus is really nice for the kids. I like the old-fashioned like technique of having to shake the Etch-a-Sketch to clear the board. And again, it's rainbow colored underneath, so it's very motivating for the kids.
Yeah, and it seems like, I feel like the Etch-a-Sketch is frustrating, the old style, with the 2 dials.
Yeah.
It's really hard to make something
really hard
on there.
It's just like one of those things where like I've never actually used it in therapy because I can't use it so well.
Yeah.
So I was really happy to see this particular version come out, and I've already had some parents buy it and have been really, really happy with it. And the last thing is, it's called the Buddha board, and it's basically just like a blank board, and you use water and a paintbrush to draw or practice writing letters, and it's reusable. So once the water dries, the picture disappears.
Okay.
And it's nice because there's no ink, there's nothing to like worry about it making a mess. Water will dry, but it's also very soothing. And one of the things I like about it is the base of it. You place the board inside of it, so you're also working on an upright surface. So again, on that, working on core strength and putting their wrists in the right position for proper grip and all of that when you're writing.
Right. Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Meghan, for all these great ideas. We will link to Meghan's blog from our show notes so that you can get some more specifics and details about all these products. And there's more, too, that she didn't get a chance to mention that are in this post. So thank you so much, Meghan.
Thanks for having me.
And it's always good to hear from Meghan and get her great ideas. And we'll have her back again next month.
Sorry, my dog is misbehaving. Hang on. She's not happy. She went rogue while I was away.
Oh, dear.
So
she was
very
mad at you
behaved.
because you left her.
Yeah, very poorly behaved. Okay. And now for our final segment today, we're going to do a little shameless self-promotion and direct you to some of the things on our sites that we think you should take a look at. Terry, what have you got for us?
Well, I haven't written anything again actually, a couple of weeks ago, I did say I was going to write something for my blog, Too Old for Cool, and I actually did. So if you haven't seen it, go look. But today I wanted to talk about a Twitter account I have called Special Needs News Tweets. It's SN News Tweets, on which I try to tweet special needs related stories that I see. I have not been very faithful for that recently, but I am trying to get back into it again. So go follow it. If I see new followers, it will put pressure on me to actually tweet more. But I tweeted some today. We'll tweet some tomorrow. Check it out.
Catherine, how about you?
Well, over at highlights.com, I have been writing a lot of baby things. And so this time it is 6 types of books every baby needs. So it's not specific titles. It is, you need some lift the flat books and you need some board books and that kind of thing. So
I was thinking, do we already have Baby Peer Pressure? Cool. This is the book you need.
Yeah,
baby.
you are not.
You don't have that
if
book?
you don't have these books. It's just like the sunglasses.
I guess.
No.
Baby version of sunglasses.
Yeah.
It starts so early.
Yeah, but there's lots of good options
for
cool baby books. So check that out over at highlights.com.
Alrighty.
And I am excited to announce that I finally have my book cover.
Yay!
And my Amazon page for my book is all there, ready to go. Everything's up, and it's set for pre-sale.
We can pre-order?
So,
excellent.
Yep. And go check it out. The link to my page will be in the show notes. And you'll see the cover and the full complete description of the book and a little bit about me. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
I have to say.
And remember that if you buy her book, Nicole will come to your house to sign it. So,
yeah. So that is, I actually, last night I had my husband order a copy.
Just to see if it worked?
And he said, he had to go through the process, and I had to take a photo of him doing it, and it was pretty cool.
You're going to get a big box of them, though, right?
Not a big box. But it was just the whole act of I'm buying my wife's book online.
Yay!
On Amazon.
And then I'm going to return it because we have a box full of free ones right over here.
Yeah. No.
Still have.
She gets money out of this.
My closet is
full.
full.
But I guess it's taking money out of their bank.
Books that I got.
Yeah, but still, it's pretty cool.
Yes, it is very cool, and it's exciting to go buy it. So, is he going to leave you a review? Well, it's just pre-order, so you can't do that yet, right?
You can't. Yeah, it's pre-order still. So, anyway,
all right, very cool.
Excitement.
That is a landmark.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And on that optimistic note, we will say that's it for this week's episode of Parenting Roundabout. We hope you enjoyed it and that you will join us every week. You can listen to podcast episodes on parentingroundabout.com or download them from Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe so that you get all of our podcasts and mini podcasts. You can also follow us on Twitter, where I am at Momitude, Nicole is at Nicole Erdix, and Catherine is at C. Haleko. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Roundabout Chat and look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram too. Best of all, stop by our podcast page at parentingroundabout.com and read recaps, find links on all the stories we mentioned, and talk back in the comments. Thanks to John Moran at johnjmoran.com for providing our in and out music, and I wish everyone a great week.